You asked, so here it is. Welcome back to RC Trails, welcome back to the channel. I've been getting a couple of requests about my Jeep Gladiator just to show what I did and how I got everything to work. By the way, I love you guys' comments and I personally read and respond to each one. Now personally, I think that Killerbody knocked it out the park with the Jeep Gladiator. Before this one, I was looking at the actual Gladiator, but I was trying to stay away from Lexan bodies. First off, let's talk about the price. The Gladiator body goes for about 200 bucks. I believe it's down to 188 or to 190, depending where you get it from. Now, keep in mind, for that price, you're only gonna get a hard body kit. It's not like a Lexan body kit that comes with the shell and then a couple of molded pieces. It is not assembled, so you have to cut and paint every piece, and there's a lot of pieces to this kit, but the detail I believe is worth the price. Now Killerbody has on a box that it works with different chassis. I believe it looks the best on the Mercury chassis, even though it's not out yet, but on the photos that I've seen that is on that chassis, I think it looks the best. You could work around it and put it on a different chassis like I did, but there's gonna be some moderate or very little modification you're gonna have to do to make it work with the chassis that you chose. The only thing I don't like is that the bumpers are meant to be screwed onto the body itself. Now let's go over exactly what I did to actually make everything come together and stay together. In the beginning, I tried to fit a Element chassis on the Jeep Gladiator and it didn't work. I know it wasn't recommended, but it was a chassis that I already had and I wanted to see if I could actually use it. But I ended up purchasing an Enduro chassis. It was the equivalent to SEX 10.2. The only difference is this one came with a 4-link front, which equals to bump steer. In order to eliminate the bump steer, you would have to add your own panhard bar. Now, if you look at the Jeep Gladiator's body, you could see that it narrows down towards the back, and I wanted to add some rock sliders. So in order to do that, those side plates where you would normally put your electronics, I had to cut those to match the tapering off the body so I could screw on my rock sliders. Now for electronics, I basically like to reuse some motors and ESCs until I could afford another motor. So in this one, I reuse the Komodo and the Lizard 10 combo from Furitech, which is something amazing. Now to control the Gladiator, I'm using my new favorite receiver and transmitter. It is the L-Dark CT01. It's my new favorite one because it's only about 38 bucks. It comes with a rechargeable battery. It has 8 channels. You can add 5 models to it. You could use it with one hand. So if you're filming, if you film a lot, then this is a good radio. I would recommend it. It doesn't feel cheap at all. At first I thought it was, and I liked it so much I have 2 now. The buttons for each channel lights up so it indicates if it's active or not. And it has a screen which allows you to change certain settings. Now, once you get towards the end of the build, you're gonna start to see that you don't have a lot of space under the Gladiator. It's a pickup truck, so you only have the first half to stick all your electronics in there and the battery. I used a shorty pack from Reedy and I modified the battery holder to go in the middle towards the front, right in between the 2 wheels. Now for my wheels and tires, like I said before, I reuse whatever I have. So I use the stock wheels and stock tires for my Night Runner, which is a 1.55 beadlock plastic wheel. And the tires are 1.55 general grabber tires. Mounting the body to the chassis was simpler than I expected. Since the hood isn't flat, I was thinking I was gonna have some issue mounting it. The reason why I used 3M double-sided tape was I didn't wanna make the mounting points permanent. So I just used some tape. If I need to change the mounting point, then I'll be able to just remove the tape and put it somewhere else. Now the suspension was something I also had to figure out. The front suspension was straightforward, but the rear is a little different because the bed would lay on top of the chassis rail. So the shocks would run into the bottom of the truck bed. So I had 2 options. One was to mount the shock directly to the chassis. If you had to drill a hole, you probably can, and mount the shock there. But I chose to go with a cantilever style suspension. It wasn't the best kit out there. I saw one after I purchased this one that I think was gonna work better, but I got it to work anyway. What I would have liked to have seen in this kit is one, maybe some bumper mounts that could go with those chassis that they have on the box. So the hoops I had to run through was to make my own bumper mount. First, I sculpted a bumper mount out of wood. It was a little bit easier to form and to sand to the measurements that I needed. And then after that, I took those measurements, made a CAD file out of it, and then 3D printed it. If you would like that print file, you can find it on my Buy Me a Coffee page. Everything that I get is greatly appreciated, and it goes right back into the channel to make content for you. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do so. It is free. I will not charge you, I promise. Hit that like button and let me know what you think about the Gladiator. If you have any questions, go ahead, drop them down in the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. See you on the next one.